Hello and welcome to the show. We are back at the Bajarama circuit today, driving 3 more vehicles till destruction, starting with the Malak. Now, last time this went around, it did actually pretty damn well until a wheel got twisted and got stuck in the car, couldn't drive anymore. This, though, an updated version of the mod, and our car here has got a more powerful engine. It has got, well, it's still the 650cc engine, but it's a little bit quicker. We've also got police livery and police paraphernalia on the roof that's going to last approximately 1 crash. Yeah, I don't quite know how the other stuff is going to work. I've also got it on sports suspension, which is new. It's the sort of suspension that goes... There's a police version, there's a rally version of this now, and the suspension... I basically take the suspension from the rally car and put it on this police vehicle, and we're going to see how that fares if we can get around a corner. There's a lot of understeer. There is an awful lot of understeer in our little car. Ooh, we made it across the first jump without losing our siren and loud... Well, our light and loudspeaker system up there, which is, I guess, a positive. Oh, we only got to just about make it up on that next ramp. Ignore the gauge saying the car's out of fuel. It's not. I don't quite know why that's showing up in the way that it is, but there we go. Now, we don't have a radiator to worry about in this car. It is air-cooled, so there is no radiator to break. Overheating, not going to happen. However, we have managed to twist one of the rear wheels on one of the very first landings. We've bent the rear left wheel over on itself ever so slightly. I mean, you can kind of just about see there we've got some positive camber on the go, and I think we've got some very weird steering geometry going on from the other rear wheel. That's not great in terms of drivability in this car. In fact, our steering is not almost non-existent. Our turning circle, for such a small car, our turning circle is god-awful. Are we quick enough to make radiator springs? Yes, but only just. Only just. Oh! Bad things have gone on with the front wheels. Oh, bad things have gone on the front wheels. It is still drivable, but that front right is gone. Did not last anywhere near the same length of time the old or the other version did. The wheels just sort of kept bending, but that one has gone very early. It's only the first lap and we've lost a wheel. How much further can we go? The issue is, of course, once we've lost a wheel, has it fixed itself? Oh, it has. It's like pinged itself back out again. Never mind. Disaster averted. Well, slightly disaster averted. The rear wheels are still bent over. Did we have like the wheel twisting in it? I thought that had, like, just snapped off completely. It did look like it had. Maybe it was just that the gods of Beam have decided no, the Malak shall not have issues on its first lap like this, and has repaired my vehicle magically. I don't know how on earth that worked, but there we go. I mean, the wheels are not happy anymore, I'll be honest with you. The wheels, are not... None of them are really pointing the way they did initially. That makes the car pull horrendously to the left. So badly to the left, in fact, I don't need to steer through that corner at all. Are we going to... No. Are we going to be able to clear that jump nicely? Not at all. We're going to smack and smack some more across here. We're kind of wheeling. I do remember the wheeling from last time. There was a lot of wheeling with the with the non-sporty version of the car. That had some troubles. Oh, this is going to have some more, and we're upside down again. Quickly. Oh, of course it has its self-righter. Somehow that works. Yeah, don't quite know how that manages to fix it. Oh, god damn, the steering is so broken. It was turning into that corner completely on its own. I had to then counter steer, and that threw it all out of position. However, we've got it working again now. That's gonna be... Oh, that's not coming back. We've lost a rear wheel now. We are one-wheel drive in the Malak. Well, it's still going, amazingly. It is still going. All of the vehicles that have lost a wheel and then failed to get any drive because of their diffs and so on, this is the car that will now carry on. It's doing 26 miles an hour. It was doing 26 miles an hour. I mean, it doesn't really steer very well anymore. We're up to 30. We're breaking the speed limit in a 3-wheeled Malak. In fact, we're breaking the speed limit to the point where the police would really want to have a word with you, if you were in a 30-mile-an-hour zone at least. How are we doing 40 in this? That's incredible. That really is quite impressive. We managed to kind of get it up so that that wheel wasn't, or so that that's where that wheel used to be, was now no longer touching the floor, and then it works. That is ridiculous. I cannot believe that this vehicle is still driving in the manner that it is. It's probably... Oh dear, it's not going to drive anymore, I don't think. Is there a gear that it could work in? We can spin on the spot. That's about all I think we can do in this. We're going to fall down the hill a little bit. Come on. No, that's gone. But the fact that that made it, I don't know, a quarter of a lap, at the speed that it did is remarkable. The issue is once that wheel is gone, it's so difficult to take any of these jumps properly. You're always going to end up landing twisted, and in twisting, that would snap off one of the other wheels. Even though it wasn't going, I say it wasn't going massively fast, you know, it was still going along at a decent rate. That twisting was enough to cause the vehicle some issues. Well, not quite as far as the other version of the car, however. Certainly a spectacle, and that's what we like to see in Driven Till Destruction, a spectacle. Up next, we have got the classic Pizima, but this, a very, very different car, in fact. While it's based on it, it's got completely different bodywork. We've got pop-up headlights, for example. Different engine. This one has a V8, and rather than being a front-wheel drive, this rear-wheel drive. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Mark III Supra in many ways. A little bit of a prelude in it as well, from a certain angle at the back, kind of like the old Honda Preludes. Anyway, power headlights, always a good thing to have. We shall see if we can not lose the wheels on this car. If we can not have two wheels fall off the vehicle, that would be relatively good going. Last time we had a red classic Pizima go around this course was the rear or the all-wheel steer car that had the flappy wheels at the back. So I'm wondering, can this be more impressive than that? I doubt it. And to be fair, if this has flappy wheels at the back, we will not be going anywhere quickly. It does seem to have a huge amount of steering lock on the front, which can be good for getting it around the corners, can also be bad for tearing wheels off if things go wrong. We will have to wait and see how that works out. We should have been in second gear for accelerating away up there. So far, suspension holding up relatively nicely across that first jump. We are rear-wheel drive, and we are struggling for traction on most of these hills at the moment. The engine has got a decent amount of power, but it's really struggling to be able to use it on any of these sections. And that's a bit of a problem, potentially, coming towards Radiator Springs if we can't get enough power down towards that section. We're going to hit the middle of the chassis. That's always a concern for the driveline. I don't know what the driveline is like at all in this vehicle. We will have to wait and see in that regard. Up towards Radiator Springs we go. We're wonking again on the chassis. Come on, car. Accelerate away. Get fast enough to clear it. We landed on the front. However, got away with it. The front bumper's gone. The exhaust are flailing around. Really properly flailing around back there. Just trying to have a look, see if we've done any other damage to the front. I don't think we have. I think it's only the bumper that has gone. Now we've got a little bit of traction. We can hopefully get up to some decent speed down here, and indeed we can. We're bobbling around a little bit, less than ideal. Now, it has a lot of steering lock. I feel like if things go wrong for this car, it'll be quite easy. Yeah, very easy to snap those front wheels off across an awkward jump or so on. We will have to wait and see on that. There goes the radiator on this. That was a crunch. That sounded like rear suspension, or kind of looked and sounded like some rear suspension taking a beating. Front wheels are at slightly odd camber. Yeah, I'm not even sure the front. I'm not sure the front suspension's living very much anymore. To be expected, really, a road car like this around a course like this. It's not fast enough for that. I don't want to touch the steering because I don't want to do any more untold damage to that front left, because that front left has got enough damage on it as it is. Still working, interestingly. The front left is still good to go. They look like they're hanging on for dear life, but it is still working. The rear left is buckled. It's not quite bent underneath us yet. However, it's not going to be deploying power in a very nice way. Got to deal with it though. And we have had cars run for quite a long time with wheels in that condition. I mean, the Ballerina from last time is a prime example of cars surviving with wheels at all sorts of silly angles. So yeah, there is no. It's sort of, I say it's no guarantee the car's going to go out quickly. It should hold on quite, or it could hold on for a while like that. Control will be an issue, but it's not too terrible in all honesty. I think overheating might get us in a relatively short amount of time. I'm just looking at that temperature gauge. It's not looking great. Yeah, we lost the radiator relatively early on, that is true, but it's already overheating here. It's going to overheat perhaps even in less than a lap. That's not good. That's not good at all for the car. We seem to have lost a lot of performance all of a sudden. I'm not sure if something's caught, something's dragging on the floor. The rear's got very bouncy, which is something to deal with. Not necessarily something I expected from this car, particularly, but there we go. Oh, that's a big crunch. I say it's a big crunch on the front. It didn't make the big horrible crunching noise I was expecting it to when we went across there. We are getting quite scarily close to bending the chassis to the point where it's starting to get beached. Not that I think that's going to be a problem, because the engine is going to disintegrate and give up long before we get to that point here as we cross the jump. The next jump. We've finally lost both of the exhausts. Doesn't really look like there's a drive shaft attached to anything, quite frankly, with the way that gearbox was floating. We've lost performance at a really bad place. The engine's gone before we even get to radiator springs. That's not so helpful. That is not so helpful at all on the Bajarama. That's very quick overheating. It's not a crazy turbocharged engine in this one either. As I said, it's a V8, decent power V8, but not a crazy thing. I imagine the hit we took on the radiator was like a completely catastrophic hit rather than a slow puncture or anything like that. That might be why the overheating occurred so quickly. Like if the radiators get a little puncture, they can leak coolant for a while and still have the engine running okay. That might just be a catastrophic failure immediately. I can see the ride height with that front right collapsed. Yeah, we probably would have bent the chassis to the point where it couldn't go much further. I think we would have probably lost a wheel before we bent the chassis that much up. But yeah, I was expecting perhaps a little bit more from the Bajarama here, but engine overheated very, very quickly indeed. Didn't even get a second chance or a second attempt at clearing radiator springs. And for our final vehicle today, we have got the Pursue, as it is called. Of course, we all know, really. It is a Toyota Supra. Now, this, I'm not sure how it's going to fare. We do have a decent amount of power. I've gone for a turbocharged Targa version because, well, why on earth not? We should be able to clear the likes of radiator springs without too many issues. However, no idea what the suspension is going to be doing on this car. Don't know how many hits that is going to take. Whether the wheels are going to bend like they did on the Bajarama, like they have on the 200BX and so on. Whether they're just going to ping off like the old ETKs, or quite what's going to happen. Radiator is another concern. I would imagine it's probably going to get damaged fairly easily in this. Or it's rear-wheel drive, and I'm seriously struggling to put any power down without it just wanting to go sideways. Radiator survived the initial jump, but who knows how much further it's going to be going. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Car, thank you. Little bit too much power going up there. It's just sideways everywhere. But it can be very sideways if you let it. We don't really want it to be too sideways. We want it to try and get some power down onto the road for the climb up here. If the radiator does go, incidentally, I would imagine it's not going to take it long to overheat, as it's gone there. High-powered turbocharged engines tend to overheat quickly, although the Bajarama threw a little bit of a spanner in the works with the V8 overheating a lot faster than I would have thought it was going to. Okay, radiator springs, here we go. Supra, we can clear there relatively easy. Not the cleanest. I think third gear might actually work better in this car. I was tending to use second. With these cars, again, the high-powered turbo stuff, if you put them up into too high a gear, you get huge turbo lag and the car just doesn't go anywhere. The third gear in this car doesn't seem to be a terrible gear ratio, so we can probably run third rather than second and have it buzzing the limiter a little bit less. Now, we're not likely to be a big fan of the motocross section in this, are we? It is not likely to be particularly happy. Nope, it's not quite quick enough. I say it's got the speed, it's got the power to do it, but it hasn't got the traction to use that power to ever get itself in a point where it can gracefully get down here, taking 2 jumps at a time. You will tend to get quite heavy landings if you go for 2 jumps at a time, but yeah, I don't know what vehicle. I know a couple of vehicles have done it. I can't remember, but it is possible. You just need a lot of speed. Oh, we're going to lose the back end. It's got the speed to do the 3 jumps, but we haven't got that traction. We haven't got the composure to get away with it. Oh, come back down, car. Thank you. It's suspension-wise, is holding on quite well at the moment. It's so far so good for the Supra. The engine is starting to give out. I say starting to give out. It's starting. Temperature starting to rise. I think perhaps a slight bit slower than that of the Pazima. We're going to go around in a circle, aren't we? Well done, me. That's not my greatest bit of driving. Is such a lazy. They're the worst sort of spins. Just the full-on lazy spins. Let's put my temperature light on. Are we really going to break down at a similar... We might actually end up going at a similar point to the Zima. There goes the cooling. This isn't great news. It's not great news for the Supra. I say I'm surprised suspension has done quite well. It's taken a couple of large-ish knocks around the course. Come on, car. Come on, car. There we go. There we go. Up the hill. Uh-oh. That's not good. That's really not great. We are still working. We are still working. We have damaged that front left wheel. I thought it was dangling. It's just sort of bent inwards now, so it's permanently steering to the right. That's something we're going to have to try and kind of manage for as long as the lifespan of the car is. Oh, don't turn in that much. We don't want to go towards a hay bale. That's not a... It's not a place you really want to be heading towards in this vehicle. Oh, god damn it! I'm trying to get some power to get across these jumps, and it's just spin the wheels. Just spin the wheels everywhere. I think the rear suspension might be collapsing. It looks okay actually. So the way it took that jump didn't look very convincing, but it's not quite as terrible as you might have thought. I'm really having to be very, very careful with the throttle here just to try and stop the damn thing, especially now with the broken steering, to try and stop it wheel spinning its way into oblivion. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's a lot of damage to that front left wheel. That's a lot of damage there. Oh, please don't turn off either, car, because if you turn off now, I don't know we'll get you going again. Still, we're good. We're good. I mean, we're poorly, but we are still working. Yeah, we can still make the corner. In fact, we made the corner a little bit too much. Come back, Supra. We've got further than the Pazima did, which is... Yeah, I mean, it's... Oh, God. Now the warnings are coming on. Now I've lost all of the... Oh, it's all gone. That's it. It's done. Conrod Bearers didn't even go. It's just... Yeah. We made further. Not that much further. The steering was quite broken by the end of it. I think perhaps what might have helped the overheating slightly there is we're having so many oversteering issues. I couldn't put any power down, so I couldn't really use very much throttle, so that might have just delayed the overheating a little bit. Another car overheated very, very quickly. Very quickly indeed on the Supra. I'm less surprised, though, about this one overheating fast with all that power and so on. Yeah, the suspension held up okay. It started to get buckled towards the end. We didn't have too many massive impacts on it. I think we could probably have buckled the steering quite quickly, quite easily, but the car is fast enough that on the most part it can get to the likes of radiator springs, can just about survive them. But yeah, look at... I love that the roof line is now higher than the spoiler line. The car, notorious for that huge wing at the back, is crushed so far down that the roof is now considerably considerably higher. It's a mess. It made it, what, 2.5-ish laps. So, certainly not the worst showing. Although it's not been a massively high-scoring episode, this one. So, on to our results table. And the Pursue/Supra goes into 51st place with its overheating engine. It is just a fraction behind the Gasly. Both of them overheating at a very, very similar point. The Gasly, though, that fraction later rolled just a little bit further down the road. But yeah, both conking out in a similar way. I don't think the Supra was long for this world regarding the kind of steering and so on. I'm not sure those wheels would have lasted much longer anyway on that. We do have to go a little bit further down to find our other vehicles. The Bajarama Coupe in 60th place. Again, overheating on that one. Relatively fast overheating, faster than I was expecting from it. Although, admittedly, the D-Series, the Slam D-Series, I'd imagine similar engine, both V8s in them, quite possibly the same engine. Overheating in a similar way. Yeah, losing the radiator that early isn't helpful. Again, the coupe, I don't think the front wheels were particularly long for this world, and the chassis was very buckled and very, very low. However, yeah, the overheating killed it faster than the rest of it. And then we have the Police Malak in 65th place with those two wheels picking off the car. It does make it further than the Bolide, makes it further than the Comet Diesel, but it can't beat the Soilad. That lost a wheel axle. That made it quite a way around with one-wheel drive as well. It ended up not being able to climb up the hill before the the car gave up. The Malaks was certainly spectacular, though. It was certainly an impressive failure around this course. That's going to be it, though, for this episode. As ever, I shall link all of the mods in the description so you can download them, have a go with them yourself. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.